So in January, I had an opportunity to join an international expedition in Myanmar, or a country formerly known as Burma, to survey for a super rare sandpiper called the Spoon-billed Sandpiper. This is a bird that nests in the Russian Arctic and winters along the coast in Bangladesh, Myanmar, and Thailand. Its worldwide numbers have declined dramatically in the last 2 decades, and at the moment we believe that there are probably only 400 to 500 birds left in the globe. And it's a very challenging bird, in part because it's a long-distance migrant. So there are many threats, both where they nest in Russia, all the way through the coastal estuaries in Korea and China and Vietnam, and of course the threats on the wintering grounds. So the expedition really focused over a 2-week period, going out each day trying to survey different sites along the coast in Myanmar where there were large congregations or numbers of shorebirds feeding. In particular, we found one site in the northern end of the Gulf of Martaban where we found, in among a flock of 35,000 shorebirds of more than 25 species, we found 71 spoon-billed sandpipers. It's the largest grouping of spoon-billed sandpipers left in the world. This is a site that's a couple miles off the coast during low tide. It is an extraordinary place, rich in invertebrate life that provides food for so many types of shorebirds. And it's a site that probably holds not only the 71 we saw, but it could hold as many as 150 spoon-billed sandpipers, or at least in that part of the Gulf of Martaban. While I was in Myanmar as part of this expedition, David Sibley, obviously extraordinary bird artist and bird expert, was in Thailand at the same time and took some fabulous footage of spoon-billed sandpipers, as well as did some drawings of them, and he's been willing to share that with us here. The expedition was put together by Christoph Zockler, who's a biologist based in Cambridge, England. He works under contract with BirdLife International that has identified spoon-billed sandpipers being one of the priority bird species. And Christoph is a terrific presence. He really put together very complicated logistics. He was always, bringing people together, organizing a very complicated expedition. So, Christoph, what are we doing today?
Today we find the spoon-billed sandpiper. We are in the core area of the Bay of Martaban, where the spoon-billed sandpiper has been recorded in double figures. So we hope to see as many as possible. This time we spread out in 3 teams. And each boat has 2 teams. So we try to cover as much ground in this hot spot of spoon-billed sandpiper wintering area as possible.
One of the things we were able to do while in Myanmar was also identify one of the key threats, which is the trapping of shorebirds. It is clear that all along the coast in Myanmar there are professional bird trappers in these fishing communities who, particularly during new moon nights, are up putting fishing nets out in areas that are known to hold congregations of shorebirds. And they're trapping them. Now, of course, they may not be trying to specifically trap spoon-billed sandpiper. They're looking for larger birds like curlews and plovers. But the fact of the matter is they are catching spoon-billed sandpipers. The bird trappers that were interviewed by the expedition were clearly able to identify spoon-billed sandpipers. They knew them, which gave us indication that they had in the past trapped them. What was very interesting was that after interviewing one trapper, the expedition left to go survey, came back into port, and one of the trappers that they had been speaking with actually had caught, in those 2 days, had caught a spoon-billed sandpiper, had it in a cage, had been feeding it rice and water, and brought it to the expedition to show them, and was willing to allow local children to release the bird. And of course we don't know how the bird will do after having been in captivity, but the fact of the matter is it confirmed the fact that indeed trapping is a terrible threat on the wintering ground, and that is going to be one of the key conservation issues, is working with the trappers in these communities in order to find alternatives, to find ways to protect spoon-billed sandpiper particularly. And that's why it's important to identify those specific areas that spoon-billed sandpipers winter so that we can focus those conservation strategies around those places.